say all that to, or ask all that to say, I mean, while it was, you know, going, there were big names coming through, and people locally, like, were lined up as far as the eye could see to get on their open mic for Tuesdays. So I'm thinking, or I want to ask you guys, how do you feel the closing of Riot Act will affect comedy in the area, if at all, or how much, if so?
Well, I don't think it's going to be.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to affect that much. They weren't really committed to it in the beginning. Like, I mean, I don't know if I can say that. I mean, they didn't have a big enough presence for them to be missed. The only thing that I think is, like, they did bring in some names that were like national headliners but couldn't book the Improv, and it brought some, you know, different style of comedy and variety, and it helped grow comedy in DC and like build a comedy fan base for us. Like, not for us, but like now if people are interested in seeing great comedy, maybe they'll come out to local mics.
See,
but like,
I feel like that's the bigger issue. Where see, I have nothing. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like I would love to be somebody that's paid to perform at the DC Improv. But I also think that DC is a big enough city that it's sort of a shame that we have like one standing regular comedy club. And so like to the end of like, do I think that Riot Act's closing is going to affect like the mics that I'm on? No. But I think that it was an opportunity and something to grow and to strive for and to reach for. And so now it's like, so now we're back to the DC Improv or like big national names that could come in and sell out like the Warner or DAR or like, you know, a theater or kind of like other, I shouldn't be just DC based, but like, you know, like other like DC, Maryland places where you gotta go to Baltimore.
Right.
Or you gotta go down to Richmond. And like, I think that's a shame that like, forget the whole like, hey, we're the nation's capital, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, we got like over 1 million people living here and one regular comedy club. Like that is less than it could be. And
I feel like Improv doesn't even really like count, in my opinion, because they only book national headliners. So like there's no, like at least Riot Act, like they were supportive of some of the stuff that like the DC Writers Group has put on, like doing showcases and doing social events and stuff like that. So as opposed to like would anyone even approach Improv to do that? Like, they would laugh in your face. They would be like, don't even waste my time.
They've got they've got their side room that they do to like play the devil's advocate. Like they've got the lounge that they do stuff in. So you can, but it's a much smaller venue.
Yeah, it's pretty small, and like my understanding is like the only way to break into it is to like take their comedy classes and like get stage time there. Whereas like at least like the relationship we had with Riot Act was not that way. We were like, we have more than 60 people that we can bring you, and we can bring you lots of business, and so we at least did that. So, but I do think that whatever small part that Riot Act played in fostering the scene, there is now a void, so somebody step up and fill it and support the local scene, because I think that there is a huge, like there's no reason DC should have one comedy club that only books national headliners when clearly there's talent abound. So
yeah, Adele, how do you feel about Riot Act closing?
I kind of feel like there was definitely something added to our community by having the Riot Act here and having that platform. I know I was able to perform there several times, and that was cool. But also the relationship, like when John X was there, it was like kind of good to have like a, you know, be able to talk to someone who can have some impact. And I mean, they were approachable, and I thought that was cool. Them leaving and not being here anymore, I think that, I mean, in some ways it's going to be missed, and I think in some ways we'll just go right back to business as usual. I think it's going to be really easy to do that because they weren't here that long.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's like, it's sad, but we'll just get up and do what we were doing before they got here. So.
Well, and I think there was, like, before they opened, I remember hearing a couple conversations of people being like, I don't know, can DC support 2 comedy clubs? Like, or is there an audience, which is it? Okay, 1 million people. Like, we can find 500 to sit and laugh. Like, okay, but like it was an interesting question of like, can DC support another comedy scene? And so, but it's like the fact that this is going out, it seems like sort of through no fault of common, is a shame, because I would really hate if there was another potential set of owners, like people that would want to come in and do another club that would think like, oh no, it's because the improv is all they can handle. Like that's not it. That's not it. Like that's not the case.
Right.
It was like their own internal combustion. It was
right. Yeah. And I think you definitely hit that point because it was definitely going somewhere, and I was seeing I saw it going up.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it getting better. I'm sure they had their ups and downs, but for the most part, I think it was definitely going up. People were starting to know that it was here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was starting to get its recognition, mm-hmm. And just as it was starting to happen, then this happened, and now it's leaving.
Yeah, it's no more.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's my thoughts exactly. Like it's unfortunate. It's a beautiful space.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer the space better than the improv space.
Oh yeah.
But
well, in some ways I do.
Yeah.
I think it's
cool. I think
I think it's like a real, like kind of like I can see it being a great party space, but like
yeah. The ceilings were too high.
Yeah.
It wasn't intimate enough, and that's what I like about the improv. It's like they got it right. They definitely, and that's why they're still here. But yeah, it was kind of cold. It was like almost too big in a way. I mean, it could have still been big with that more intimate feeling if they had.
Was it kind of like between straddling comedy club and like theater? A little bit? Because I've actually never been to Riot Act.
So it's like, so you go in and there's like the upstairs is just like a lounge area,
right?
Which is I guess like whatever, and then the downstairs where the theater is, like it's a good sized theater. It's a good, like it's got a couple big columns in it, but it's like a big room at the bottom of a big building. Like of course it's got some columns in it, but then it's got like maybe 15, 20 foot ceilings, and it's
really
like,
open.
Yeah.
really, really open, straight white walls all the way to the top,
yeah,
and black seats, black tables. So
Blue
it's
lights,
like, and then bright lights. So it's like, I can see that being like, it's like a blank canvas and great for like a party space or a function space. But it really is, like it's got like 2 stories of a white wall that you're staring at. It's sort of like that kind of, yeah, I thought like it's on the other hand, like they were really open and really supportive, but like I just personally found the space to be a little like, cold.
Yeah, and even performing in it, it was like I felt so far from the audience, and I just haven't really mastered that yet. How to just get to them regardless of the space. I was going to work on it, and now they're gone.
Yeah.
That's I've heard a lot of people say that, like they feel like it's cold, and I'm definitely
it's
one
cold.
of
I mean,
those
it was like
blank
really
slate people. Like I felt like it was really clean,
Yeah.
and so like whoever was there, like each person as like the comics would change or whatever, you could completely fill it with whatever you wanted because it was kind of like just a clean space.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah.
Really
But
sad.
the next whatever space, we'll just have to go in and show our support if we like it, and bring our tambourines,
Trash
our
it if we
whistles,
don't.
our blowhorns.
Open micers. No, that's right.
Keep that one.
Keep it.
Keep that.
I know that's right. And you got to do the lips.